Hey guys, welcome back to the lounge. As always, myself here, Steve, joined by my wonderful co-star Eric, Wilfred Watson.
Happy to be here. Happy to have a drink in my hand, and I'm happy that you're here with us today.
Today, guys, we are going to talk about a video game reaction. Now, I am familiar with these games. I've played all of these games. I turned Eric onto this. I was like, you need to play this game. Today, we are talking about the Arkham series. Specifically, we are talking about the first one, Batman Arkham Asylum. Eric is currently going through it, so we're going to talk about his initial reactions to that today.
It sucks. I'm going to play something else now. I'm kidding.
Video's over.
Welcome to the madhouse, Batman!
Anybody who's watched this channel for more than 2 seconds knows that we're both big fans of the Batman character.
Yes.
You have Batman shit behind you. I have Batman shit at my house. I read the comics. We love the movies. You're a lot more of a video game type person than I am. I'm not. I don't really call myself a gamer.
Okay.
I casually play video games here and there when I have time. I kind of triage my entertainment.
For
Like,
sure.
I try to write books. So if I'm playing too many video games, I'm not going to have time to write my books.
Yep.
But every once in a while, I just love to sit back, relax, escape into a completely fictional world. And Batman Arkham Asylum, holy crap, does it let you just forget that the real world exists.
Yep.
You just melt into the DC universe. And I think it's actually brilliant to have the game set at Arkham Asylum because you get all of the rogues gallery that you can kind of go through.
Yep.
And it's fantastic. And I love hearing Kevin Conroy's voice again.
Oh, yes.
I love hearing Mark Hamill's voice again, doing those characters. It's just a beautiful, fun game.
Yeah. If you don't mind me asking, so at where are you in the game as of right now? Because I know you said you were kind of making your way through it. What was the last thing you went through?
I fought Bane, and then now I'm trying to climb up through the... I got to the Batcave for the first time, and then I'm like in some weird area where I'm trying to climb through the... I can't use my Batarang.
Okay.
Or my, I don't know what you call it, the thing he throws and repels himself up.
Oh, the grapple?
Yeah, the grapple. Thank
Okay.
you. He doesn't let you use the grapples. You have to climb up. So I'm a little bit past that. I'm not quite sure exactly.
Okay, gotcha.
Not too far into the game, but enough to really get an idea of the tone of the game.
For sure. It's the series, by and large, something that they do so well is really exploring the detective side of Batman.
Exactly that.
Yeah, but it balances out really well while still being able to punch people and have a great time doing it. And I think the thing I appreciate most about that is their ability to really emphasize on the scale of Batman's combat abilities, being able to engage 5, 6, 15 baddies at one time. And as a player, you still got to kind of think about, like, how do I want to do this? I got to parry and, yada, yada, yada. But doing it in a very Batman style just feels right before then retransitioning over to the detective side of things.
The combat sequences, or the mechanics of fighting aren't so complicated that that's the bulk of the game.
Right.
But it's enough complicated where you have to work at it.
Yep.
If you like 2 bad guys run at you, you punch them a couple times, they go down. But when I was fighting Bane, I'm like, this fucker's hard to beat. And as he should be.
Yep.
I'm challenged. It took me a couple tries. I didn't just blow past him. I had to give it some effort. And sneaking past Scarecrow, that was fun.
Oh, you got to that. Okay.
That whole nightmare sequence where he's trying to get past Scarecrow.
Yep.
He's like this little Batman, this gigantic Scarecrow. That was friggin' freaky.
Yep.
And they're unzipping the body bags with his parents in there.
Yeah.
It's so Batman-y. You get the detective mode. Do you just like leave detective mode on most of the time?
I have definitely found it. I try not to, and then what ultimately ends up happening is I get frustrated after 10 minutes because I don't feel like I'm smart enough, and then I'm like, yeah, I just leave detective mode on all the time. If I'm not punching someone, I'm in detective mode.
Sometimes I like undo detective mode just to see what things actually look like, and then
Yes.
go back into detective mode. And when I'm in detective mode, it's like, ooh, I can put my little goopy bomb stuff on this wall, and there's a Riddler trophy behind there.
Yep.
And I still don't know what the fuck the Riddler trophies are for, but I like when you get one, the Riddler taunts you.
Yep. It's a fun little mini game. I think in Arkham Knight, once you finally collect all of them, then you go to this next stage of actually confronting Riddler eventually. But I think that's what I've enjoyed about it. And I think on the grand scale, Asylum's probably the most quote-unquote restrictive because you're within Arkham the whole time. But they do a good job having these side quests that still make sense within the story. I feel like a lot of games you end up going down a side quest and you're like, okay, but that's right, there's an actual campaign I was trying to take care of over here. And the side quest within the Arkham series just makes sense to the characters. They make sense to the larger story. And I think what I've always appreciated about them, to your point, the tone, this feels like what you see in the comic books. It is dark, it's very grungy, it's creepy. And they maintain that through all of the games. So I absolutely love it.
It's realistic, but has a certain surreal level to it. Like, no mental institution would ever actually look like this, I would hope. But it's got that haunted mansion feel to it. It's a little bit of almost like has a little bit of a feel of a Resident Evil game almost in a few spots. It's just one step below horror a few times.
Yep.
But keeping it kind of PG-13.
For sure.
But it's great. Well, now, I will say that maybe a little bit too much of crawling through conduits.
Oh, for sure. I could, yeah, I believe that.
But by and large, in the layout of Arkham Asylum, if this was an actual place that existed, the floor layouts of these things, and that's true for like almost every video game, though. Yeah. The floor, the map makes zero sense.
Oh, for sure. It has to throw you off. It has to make you kind of upset. And yeah, heaven forbid if it made any sense for navigating whatsoever.
If it was just like a square office building,
right?
it'd be pretty boring, you know.
So then, what have you thought about the? Just kind of it's kind of a double-edged question because I understand the general answer to this, but how do you feel about this game's take on how Joker was done so far?
Yeah, it's a pretty good mixture of the comic books versus the cartoon. Mm-hmm. Very, very much like a lot of the, I'd say, 90s, 2000s version of the Joker comic book. I love how at the beginning, how they wheel him in like he's Hannibal Lecter. Yes. With his hands restrained and he's just making taunts at you. Yep. And you can't really play much of the game. You just have to follow him through. And by the way, most video games do this, but this game does this fairly well, is when the game's like teaching you how to play it, where you have to do these initial little tasks and whatnot. Yep. It brings you into the Arkham world very, very well. Yes. You actually like walk into the asylum. You drive the Batmobile there, and then you follow Joker. There's really nothing you can do other than just walk next to him. Correct. But then you just start having things go wrong. You have to do task by task by task, and it really teaches you how to play the game as you're playing it, get used to the controls and whatnot, and get you used to that world, and then it gets crazier and crazier and crazier, and it gets harder and harder and harder as it goes, and it's building just beautifully, and I can't wait to see where it's going to go next.
Yeah, I think this game definitely does a good job with those entry sequences, I will agree. The only spoiler I will give you much further down the road, you'll probably forget about it by the time you play the game. In Arkham City or Arkham Knight, it's one of the two. You are staring at the face of a dead Joker, and the game won't let you do anything. And then so kind of, it doesn't give you any prompts or anything. And then you'll randomly like click a button or something, and you start to notice this fire goes like, and then you slowly start to realize, like, oh, we're cremating Joker. And then so you keep it forces you to go through this thing by engaging with the random buttons on your controller. It is, I think, when I first played the game, when it came out, God knows how long ago, I sat there, I was like, what the hell is this game doing? And I literally was like, is it broken? I was like, oh. This game does a great job just kind of messing with you in that regards.
Yeah, and it takes you out of the mechanics of the game every once in a while. You start playing a slightly different game. Like when you're, like that Scarecrow sequence. Yep. You don't do the normal stuff you've been doing in the other game. All of a sudden, the mechanics of it are a little bit different. You don't have your gadgets. You don't have your detective mode anymore, really. You just have to kind of not be seen by Scarecrow monster.
For sure.
And the nightmare sequence where he ends up in the bag, you don't really have, the map goes away, you just have to kind of figure it out.
Yep, it forces you into these moments of terror. It's really cool. I think as you continue to play these, I think you will continue to love them. There was actually a recent VR Arkham, I think Shadow or something like that, where it is within this Arkham universe. It is 100% a VR game. Looks like it was really, really well done. I've heard nothing but positive stuff about it.
I saw that pop up on my X feed, and it looked cool.
Yeah. I've seen some play footage of it, and it looks really cool. There was one VR game back when I had the PlayStation VR that did these like trivial things with Batman, and there was one scene that really screwed with me where you go into Arkham and you're kind of like looking around, and then all of a sudden the door closes, and then you look behind you, and the hallway is there now. So you go down and you get stuck, and it keeps doing this thing where the game kind of freezes until you force yourself to turn around. And you do this so many times until you get a jump scare of Joker right in your face. And it actually got to a point the first time I played through it, I was like, I know what they're going to do to me. I don't want to turn around, but it's not going to let me do this game if I don't freaking turn around right now. So they've done a lot of really cool things with this Arkham universe and both the console games, the VR. I hope it's something they continue to do tastefully.
I agree. I like it so far. It combines. Like I said at the beginning of the show, I'm not really a huge video game guy. I wouldn't call myself a gamer. But when I do play video games, the types of games I gravitate towards are the big open world games where I can basically just fuck around and do whatever I want.
Yeah.
Like Skyrim is probably the most famous. And Fallout. I love those games. My other kind of game that I really love is the games are just basically a story that you're participating in.
Correct.
Like the Uncharted games, I guess, are an example of that.
Oh, those are fun.
You do the things, you jump around, you punch the people, you solve the puzzles. It basically presents you're participating in a story.
Correct.
This kind of does both.
Yes.
It follows kind of a linear path, but you still have this big fucking world to explore.
Yep.
And I love just being absorbed into the Batman universe.
Yep.
And as a guy who's been a fan of Batman literally since I can remembering things, it's just great to just be in that. I don't know why I didn't play these years ago.
Yeah, no, I don't know either with how big of a Batman fan you are. With that being said, I mean, we could keep going in circles about this. Do you have any closing thoughts about the game so far?
None, other than I'm really looking forward to the next one. I purchased like the reboot bundle where I think it's Return to Arkham.
Oh, okay.
It's like the first 3 games trilogy. I purchased that for PlayStation 4, so
perfect.
I'm excited to play the next ones, and I'll come back and talk about them when I do.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, with that being said, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure to give this video a like. Leave a comment. What do you think? Have you played these games before? Favorite memories playing through those games, favorite villains that you've encountered, so on and so forth like that. Please also do us a favor. Hit that subscribe button if you want to listen to more of the stuff that we decide to talk about. Hit that bell so you get notified about when those videos happen. And until next time, guys, cheers.
Adios.